Hi, everyone. This is Alive, my search for the best ways to live. And this episode about shamanism, magic, and witchcraft is brought to you by All Batteries. More batteries, more power.
When your car runs out of batteries in the middle of the night, just call 340-8989 and everything will be alright. No batteries, no cash, no problem. You can use your credit card with our wireless wiper. At all batteries, just call all batteries. Contact our new 24/7 hotline at 340-8989. No batteries, no cash, no problem. All batteries.
This episode is brought to you by All Batteries. Our delivery never sleeps, day and night, rain or shine, no holidays. Call them at 340-8989. That's 340-8989. Or visit their Facebook page at facebook.com/allbatteries. Delivery, jumpstart, warranty, and assist 24/7 at All Batteries. More batteries, more power.
Okay, our guest for today is Attorney Jan Perez. Hi, Jan.
Hi, Jiggy. Good evening, and good evening to all your listeners.
Today, we're going to talk about shamanism, magic, witchcraft, and all of that stuff, right? From what I understand, you are a practicing shaman, right? But before that, let me define to everyone watching this interview, since Halloween is right around the corner. I'm sure you guys are intrigued about stuff of the netherworld. A shaman is a person regarded as having access to and influence in the world of good and evil spirits, especially among peoples of Northern Asia and North America. Typically, such people enter a trance state during a ritual and practice divination and healing. That is the Google definition of what a shaman is. Is that a correct and accurate definition, Jan?
Yes, it is a very correct and very accurate definition of what I do, except I don't go in trance states.
Okay. First and foremost, Jan, you're obviously a practicing attorney, so you have a sort of a day job, if you want to call it that. What attracted you to this practice of shamanism?
The thing is, I was never actually into this per se. Like, I came from a very scientific and religious, very Catholic family, and something supernatural happened to me around 2016. And based on that, most people would get frightened when they say that their third eye is opened. I'm not one of those people. It gets me even more curious to find out what exactly happened to me. So I explored it. One thing led to another, and here I am, practicing shaman.
If you don't mind me asking you, Jan, what was that something that happened to you that sort of got you piqued, interested into practicing shamanism? Would you be able to share that story to us?
It's a very long story, and your time's not enough to tell you the whole thing.
Make a long story short, yeah.
Yeah, long story short, I started dreaming about Duwende.
Okay.
And entities living in my friends' houses. First time it happened to me, it was with an entity that lived in my friend's house. And the second time it happened, it's Duwendes, or little people, who claim that they used to live in my house and that they wanted to go back, and they considered me as the new protector and patriarch of the family. That's why they asked for my permission to go back.
Wait a minute.
And
so they're called
this all happened
entities?
in a dream, in case anybody's wondering.
Okay, so these entities were in a form of a dream. So you dreamt of entities called duendes. Who are your friends duendes who wanted to transfer to you? Is that correct description of what you just said? So and then what happened?
I said yes.
Okay.
I
In the
thought
dream.
about it first because duende and fairies for me are the same thing. And I was hesitant because I know, based on the fairy tales and lore that I've read, that they can sometimes be very tricky people. And they've done that so many times to me. They would hide expensive and important things from me, and then I'd find them in such obvious places that you'd wonder, why did I not find these before?
So it came in a dream, and things started to happen to you in real life. So
yes, even the dream itself. In the first dream, normally when you wake up, the dream is over, right?
yes.
The thing that made me wonder what was happening to me, because I was already awake and the thing still kept on talking to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they said the second batch, the one I dreamt about, that's from my house. They told me that if I help them out, if I let them back, they in turn also help me out to improve my life, and they did. I was going through a very rough time during the time. A few months after they made contact with me, from out of the blue, one of my best friends offered the job that I'm in right now, and I did not ask for it. And then so many other things had happened. One thing led to another, and my life did drastically improve.
So if you don't mind, can you describe to us how these entities look like?
The duende look like, if you look at a storybook picture of a fairy,
Mhm.
that's what a duende looks like. Here, I'll show you. They look, the more evolved ones look like this,
Okay.
and the other look like your typical duende, little people dressed up in European clothes.
Okay.
So
It looks like they have wings. It looks like they have wings, right?
this one does, not all of them do.
Okay. So the ones that you saw had wings? Were they
No.
flying around in your dream and in real life as well?
Okay, this is funny, but the one that talked to me directly, their queen,
Okay.
looked like the princess from Super Mario.
The princess from Super Mario. Okay.
They look like a princess from Super Mario. Okay, some of them look like this.
Okay. All right. That's a little scary.
It is a little scary. Well, but they're not. These are nature-based. So some have wings, like this one.
Okay.
Some look fully formed, and in fact are not tiny.
Okay.
And these are they're called the high fae, or in Filipino we recognize them as the diwatas.
Okay.
So, like this
These
guy,
are these are the different entities that are amongst us, or
amongst us, living with us.
so it is only a few of people like you who have the third eye opened that can feel them, or that can actually see them. Most of us mere mortals cannot, right? Is that a correct description, Jan?
That is correct description. But I will qualify when you say that us have the phrase, yeah, means third eye is open. But I guess what you're trying to say is that some of us can sense those beings.
Mhm.
Technically, all of us have our third eye open. If you're able to imagine, and things like if you're talking to someone and some of them have the ability to know, okay, this guy's bullshitting me without
Okay.
having any factual context for knowing
Okay.
it. That is actually evidence that your third eye is open. Or like you know how women's instinct, like
Intuition.
they somehow know their boyfriend is cheating on them without. I've seen that happen. I was hanging out with my friend.
Okay.
And just look, I'm gonna show you something. Just look, there's a pretty girl seated next to us in the bar, and his wife is at home.
Okay.
Starts talking to the girl, and then counts 1, 2, 3, raises his phone, and it's his wife calling him.
Okay.
His wife has a sixth sense whenever he talks to a pretty girl in the bar, and he
Okay.
doesn't understand how she does it. That's a third eye. That's a practical application of your third eye.
Could that be just an app?
I don't. Well,
Maybe the
girl
wife
knew
has an
she-
app. I'm just kidding, Jan.
Maybe the wife didn't trust me because she knew I was with my friend.
So all of these experiences, real life experiences that started out as a dream and spilled over to reality.
Spilled
So
over to reality.
why
Yes.
did you decide to take up shamanism? I mean, will shamanism help explain all of those things that happened to you before?
It provides a structure, yes. But when you're saying that, will it help me explain? I don't need the explanation because I already experienced it. I don't need it. I wanted to understand, and I've gone there. I've studied. I've encountered them. So I'm familiar with their world. I've deepened my study into these things, and more or less, I now have a deeper understanding of how things work with them and in the magic world.
So when you went to shamanism, is it like a school? Did you
Yes,
learn from an actual school? What was it? Describe to us the situation. How long was the training and all of that stuff? And what did you learn out of that sort of education?
there are actually the school that I went to has a system where you need to undergo through 2 weekend trainings. In the first weekend, they train you about psychism because before you could practice esoteric things, you need to have a strong foundation in psychism.
Mhm.
That's 1 weekend, and a few months
So what is
after.
what is psychism?
Psychism is just basically the study of your psyche and your psychic abilities. Like we just described one, when the ability to see entities, that's clairvoyance, to see something which isn't there. The ability to hear things which aren't there, clairaudience. There's precognition, meaning before something happens, you already see what is about to happen. There is psychometry, like if you go to an antique store, a Japanese surplus store, there are some empaths who don't like going there because when they touch it, they can feel the psychic energy that the previous owners put inside that object.
So that's psychism.
That's psychism.
1 week of that, and then what's the next week's program?
The next week's program is shamanism proper, wherein you undergo an initiation and training to become a shaman.
So how does one become a shaman? I mean, do you get the like initiation or anything like that?
I won't go into detail about our initiation, but
Okay. Generally speaking.
shamanism all over the world will always involve a symbolic death. Okay? So for some, they take psychotropic drugs like mezcal, ayahuasca, which will make you sick and will make you hallucinate, and that's where you meet things from the spirit world. I didn't go through that, for the record.
Okay.
For some, they make you go through an actual quest. Like if you were from a forest tribe, they will have the potential shaman go into the forest and try to survive. Or for some, they get very sick, and when they wake up, they develop some form of ability.
So do you have a better understanding now of what happened to you because you are now a shaman? Is that what you're called, by the way, a shaman? If you practice shamanism,
Yes.
do you have a deeper understanding now of what happened to you and all those entities that seem to be around you all the time?
The term for it is called awakening.
Mm-hmm.
And awakening is merely seeing that there is something deeper in life and in the world than what your own 2 eyes can see. and it involves a lot of aspects in your life, not just, people think it's just about magic. No, it's about life. People who have awakened become better people, because awakening is finding something deeper about yourself, something deeper about the world, that it is a lot more than what is being peddled in TV, in popular culture, in your indoctrination, in whatever religion you're in, by your school. And you realize that there is something deeper, more spiritual, and more meaningful than what you were taught, especially in these times where logic and science is supposedly the ruling schools of thought. And I'm not denying logic, I'm not denying science. I'm still very much, in fact, I still consider myself very Catholic. I still consider myself a very logical and scientific person. It's just my world expanded. Now I believe that the world of spirit is also a reality.
So what is the deeper side of reality as we know it did you find out because you practiced shamanism? Maybe you can share to us some of the more deeper understanding that you have now of life as we know it.
We are actually people think of evolution as purely physical process. It's not. We are also undergoing spiritual evolution.
Okay.
And the things happening now, like everything that's been happening in the last 2 years, that's part of our evolution. And there are things not of this world that are guiding us and helping us to evolve, to become a better human race, to become better people. And we do that by recognizing certain truths. Buddhism tells a lot of these truths. Like in Buddhism, they tell you that reality is just an illusion, that there is more to reality, then you will ascend when you become an enlightened being. So a lot of that is espoused in spirit practice. We believe that, for example, as a Catholic, I believe that I'm only given one life. But as I've expanded my studies, I am now of the belief that of the Hindu and Buddhist concept of reincarnation, that we are given more than one life to allow our spirit to evolve and become more enlightened. So each life allows your spirit to learn something. Then you move on and you try to become a more enlightened being in the next life until you become another Buddha, another Jesus, another Muhammad.
So that doesn't run counter to your Catholic beliefs, because if you're Catholic, you believe that this is one life that you have, and then you die, and then you go to heaven or hell or something like that, right? So Hinduism is a totally and completely different set of beliefs. So isn't that kind of opposing?
It would. I don't consider myself a dogmatic Catholic anymore. Catholic,
Okay.
yes, in the sense that I believe in the Christian monotheistic and all the values of Christianity. But when you say that, do I believe in? I still believe in heaven and hell, and I believe that it takes a lot more now to get to heaven than simply to just live a good life, then move on. I think that, or these are things I cannot answer yet because I haven't. When I die, Jiggy, I'll come back and haunt you, and I'll tell you
Please
what
do.
happened.
not if I die first, though. So talk to me if I'm dead. Okay. So very interesting indeed. So what you mentioned evolution? You mean the Darwin concept of evolution,
Yes.
right? And we're not just physically evolving; we're also spiritually evolving. And
Yes, we
this pandemic that you're experiencing now is a part of that. Maybe you can explain further. What does this? What is your understanding of this global crisis that we are undergoing now, from your more awakened perspective? What does this
Have you
mean?
ever heard of the concept of the long dark night of the soul? It's a
Not,
Catholic concept.
not really.
It's a point in your life when nothing is going right, when you feel
Mhm.
like God has abandoned you,
Mhm.
when you feel that no matter how hard you pray, your soul feels so empty. Life is not meaningful. As a race, as a collective whole, 2020 and ongoing is like if you look at it, there was the pandemic,
Mhm.
and then governments all over the world suddenly espoused an absolutatoria, the absolutist
Mhm.
governments were, led by totalitarian leaders like Duterte,
Trump.
Bush, Trump,
I mean,
sorry,
Trump.
Bush,
Trump. Trump.
Trump,
Okay.
Trump,
Okay.
and even countries other than all had their own versions. So
What's absolutism? What do you mean?
the belief in that there is only one person alone has absolute rule and absolute hold of power and control.
Okay. Okay.
So under the filter of spirituality, humanity was being taught all these lessons as part of our growth, because it is only when you undergo difficulty, hardship, and suffering that you find out the true extent of how strong your spirit is. So when we went through all that, and we are still going through all that, we are being tested. We are driven to the extent where we are measured in how strong we are in coping with all these difficulties, and in testing how deep our faith is, how deep our surrender is to the divine, that it will lead us to where we need to go, despite all evidence to the contrary.
But wasn't the world suffering already as it is, even
It
before
was.
the pandemic?
It was
Weren't,
suffering,
especially
but
here in the Philippines, we have still a huge number of people who are still suffering from poverty, right? From lack of basic uh, needs and all of that. So weren't we suffering already? Why do we need to have another layer of suffering when in fact we already are suffering as a people?
because we suffered as a collective, not as rich people, not as poor people. Rich or poor, death came for us. In fact, I would say I know of a lot more rich people dying of COVID than poor people. So it was a time. I believe it was a time of purging. It was a time of testing where your metal is, and we suffered as a collective. The
Okay.
pandemic came, and regardless of how rich or poor you are, people died.
So one of the things that was defined what a shaman is that you have access and influence in the world of good and evil spirits. So aside from the entities that you have in your room and in your dream, what other entities are there out there, Jan? Like, is there other things aside from those photographs that you showed us? The entities, the Duwendes, the fairies, you call them. Are there other entities? Are those good entities or are they bad entities? And will the bad entities try to harm us? And can you protect somebody from a bad entity, for example?
Hmm. Um, I don't like to think in absolutes. I don't like to define strictly what is good and evil, because in my experience, it has always been contextual.
Mhm.
And we are where we are right now in the world because people believe they're doing something good, and to another sector of the world, they're doing something evil. And it is the same in the spirit world. And let's just say that the type of energy you give out as a person attracts entities who vibrate at the same uh, energy that you are in. So if you're a good and holy person, good in the sense that you do your best by everyone concerned, you try to act according to your morals and your principles, and you think of the best for everything and everyone, then you will attract things that are aligned with the light. Those that try to encourage high vibration energy. While if you are the opposite person, like you're very violent, you disrespect other people's rights, you cheat, you lie, you're an overall shabby person, you will tend to attract entities who are aligned with your energy. So I don't know if you've noticed, Jiggy, that people who are good tend to have nice looking houses. And when you go inside their house, the energy feels light and pleasant. But if you go to places that are unkempt and shabby, tendency is those people are also not so good people in real life. And when you go there, if you are psychically attuned, you will also notice that it attracts the same kinds of energy, the same kinds of entities. So you'll find malicious spirits, things of that nature.
So if there's a good person, his or her house tends to be, what did you say? Good looking as well. And if it's a shabby person,
Well, clean, orderly.
Okay.
That's just a general rule. Okay, mind you,
Okay.
there are not nice people who live in very nice houses.
because
So
they could afford house help and clean their houses for them, right?
right,
They could be
right.
shabby people.
I'm sure there are drug dealers and politicians who live in very nice houses. Well,
So-
they're very well attended.
What other encounters have you had with the netherworld, these spirits, aside from the duendes that you mentioned? Because you mentioned that your eyes have opened even wider and you have a bigger and a deeper understanding now of the world as we know it. Have you seen other entities as well, aside from the duendes that lurk in your room?
Okay, this is a true story. I
Okay.
was reading for a friend in Ayala.
You were what? You were reading?
Yeah,
What do you mean by
I'm
reading?
reading tarot.
Okay.
And this friend is just a casual acquaintance. At this time, we weren't even Facebook friends yet.
Mhm.
So I don't know much about his life. And he was trying to learn tarot. So we were doing the reading so he could watch how I do it and learn. And this guy also happens to be a homosexual.
Okay.
But, effeminate, but not fabulous, if you know what I
Okay.
mean.
Okay.
So when we were reading, he wanted to do a love reading. So there was this guy that he's interested in.
Mhm.
So we were reading and telling, okay, this guy is also interested in you, but I have to warn you, if you go into a relationship with him, the tendency is that he will take you for granted and it will be you doing all the heavy lifting in the relationship. And he asked me, why is this so? This seems to be a trend for me in all my relationships. I'm always the one making an effort, and it's always the guy, the other guy, who's taking advantage of me. So okay, let's do another reading to find out. And so when we did the reading, I told him, "Oh man, look, you have daddy issues." And when he said that, the hairs on my right arm just suddenly raised, which is my sign that there's a spirit nearby. And true enough, when I looked beside me, I take note, when I was saying this, I knew nothing about my friend at all. So I told him, okay, there's a spirit beside me. He's a man, a very big man, mestizo, has a mustache, and he looks like he's very macho and mean. Oh, that sounds like my dad. Like, okay. Does the name Fernando mean anything to you? Yeah, that's my dad's name. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Your dad wants. The dad started telling me what he wanted to say to his kid.
Okay.
So obviously his dad is dead, which I didn't know. So your dad is saying that he's sorry for the way he treated you when you were a kid, because he's a very macho man and he felt bad that he had a homosexual son. So he's sorry that for the way he treated you, he didn't know any better. It was not a reflection of you. It was his insecurities because he didn't know how to deal with having a gay son, especially the eldest in the family. And he says he's very proud of you for how you turned out, how responsible you were when he was gone. He wants to thank you for taking care of the family. My friend started crying, and he started telling me his life story. Everything I said was true. His dad died when he was still in college taking up nursing. And he quit college, worked in a call center, and supported his brothers and sisters and his mother. And so going back to his relationships, the reason why he was always in this pattern in the relationships, it's because he's substituting these guys for his father, and subconsciously he's trying to earn the love and affection of somebody who is distant and who tries to look down on him subconsciously like his father. So it all tied up, and that's my experience.
So the tarot reading, was that the intention to talk to his father, or no? What's the intention of a tarot reading? Do you get to also talk to people who are dead? Is that a natural course of what a tarot reading is, or that was
No.
just by accident?
It was by accident. It was by accident. There was never any intention to talk to his father. I could do that if we wanted to do that.
Mhm.
I have done that once or twice for friends who asked me to talk to their dead relatives. But in that instance, there was really no intention to contact his father. His father just showed up.
Okay.
And I was very surprised. And trying to apply logic here, I never just assumed that it's his father, okay? That's why I asked him, okay, this is what I'm seeing. And this is the name he gave. And I've never seen his father. I don't know his name. He confirmed those were the names. And so logically, it was his father. And the father's soul was not at peace because he died and he never reconciled with his son. His son always thought that, oh, my father hates me because I'm gay. So that's my experience. You were asking, that's
Yes.
one. And that's a classic example of what a shaman does. We are intermediaries between the supernatural and the natural.
So the dead still has some issues. At least some of the dead has some issues still.
I think we all do. If we die, we never die truly at peace. I think with some of us have bigger issues than others. Let's go back when I was saying about evolution, because hold on.
It's okay. That's all right.
Napoy kon. Unya na. Patawasas ako. Sorry.
Was that a duende? No.
No,
Okay.
that was the natural, not the supernatural.
Okay. Right. I'm just
So
kidding.
we're talking about evolution, right?
Yes. Yes.
A shaman works a lot with the ancestors, and often it is our ancestors propelling us forward to evolve, to carry our blood lineage forward. So I'm lost.
So you mentioned that the spirit that the father of your friend who showed up was sort of apologetic that he didn't treat him right because he was homosexual, right? And all of
Yes.
that stuff. So he just appeared from out of nowhere, and you were able to describe how he looks like, big, macho looking with a mustache and mestizo and all of that stuff. And you were describing his father unknowingly, like you didn't know that his father was, number one, dead, and number two, that his father looked like that. So that is creepy. That is scary, right? So his intention was just to figure out why he is unlucky, perhaps with love, and you were describing to him why that he still has what we would say as daddy issues, right?
Right.
So after he spoke to you, your friend, and after his dad sort of asked forgiveness, what did your friend say?
he thanked me. I guess it was healing in the sense now that he understands where his problems with love is, he'll start looking for relationships which will be more life affirming for him. And also, he would recognize his own patterns that he's going after the wrong kind of men, when in fact, he should be giving that love to himself. And once we start loving ourselves, we start attracting the right people for us. This is not just shamanism stuff, it's supported by psychology, specifically attachment theory. But when you heal yourself, when you understand where your wounds are, when you embrace your shadow, better things start happening for you.
Jan, you don't have to practice shamanism, right?
You don't have to practice shamanism.
To see all of those things.
Not at all.
To see a Duwende, to detect a Duwende. In fact, you saw them before you were practicing shamanism, before you went to shaman school, right? So is there a way for us, maybe you can tell us watching this, is there a way for us to sort of access that part of us, just to be able to see what is lurking around us? Would you be able to tell us some tips, perhaps?
Okay. Number one, I don't actually physically see these things. Sometimes I do, but not. I see them as like fleeting shadows, or other people see them physically. Like I have a friend who would ask me, "Did you see that?" Because he couldn't tell the difference anymore between physical and supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like that. I rarely physically see them. I sense when they're nearby, like when my hackles rise, or I just know that they're there. Once you get that feeling, what you do is you automatically imagine what could be there. And the first thing you see is that thing. And I used to be skeptical because, it's all in your head. You're just imagining things. But then I talked to people who could physically see them. Says, okay, I describe what I'm seeing, and they confirm if they're also seeing it. And so far, what I've seen has been consistent with what those who have clairvoyancy. So if you are interested in doing that, and I'll tell you, Jiggy, very, very few want to do that. In fact, those who have the ability often want it closed, want it to stop because they're scared about what they see.
Want to do what, Jan?
I have so many friends who are psychics and are clairvoyant.
Okay.
Who admitted it to me. Some of them have asked people to close their third eye. Some of them just want to pretend it's not happening because it scares them. So while I'm teaching you this, a lot of your viewers, a lot of your listeners actually do not want to know, do not want to learn. They're scared of finding out what lurks in the dark.
Okay, you showed to me earlier, before we started this podcast, one of the instruments of the craft, right? A set of drums.
Yes.
Maybe you can show it to our viewers.
Okay.
And what does that do exactly?
This is a drum. We do this for rituals, and for some, I don't often do this. It's called journeying.
Okay.
Basically, you go in a trance state and you access the other realms in your mind. And ritual drumming in a cadence helps you reach that trance state. I have other tools if you want to see them.
Please, if you don't mind.
This one is called an Atty. It's a ritual knife. And this is not a shamanism tool. This is really more, those who practice witchcraft have these.
What does that do?
These are used for drawing, for protection, for projecting your will, your energy, for cutting cords. A friend recently sent this to me. It's a spell jar. She programmed this for protection.
Protection from?
From negative energy, malicious entities, etc. People
How
who
do
want
you-
to do harm. I'm actually more scared of people than I am of entities.
What do you do with that? You drink it? You rub it on your forehead? Well, how does that work?
You just carry it around. It
All right.
has all the magic in it.
So you don't have to apply it to anything or anyone.
Yes.
So just carry it.
And
So
you just carry it around.
do you carry it around with you?
Yes.
Okay. Like I said early in this interview, you're also a practicing and a very good lawyer at that, right? How does this inform your practice, and how does it inform you as an individual who is living in the real world, if you want to call that the real world? How does it inform you? Do you make decisions also sometimes influenced by your practice of shamanism?
These worlds rarely interact, but when they do, it's more on. It's very hard to lie to me.
Mm-hmm.
I have some unconscious way of knowing when somebody's bullshitting me.
Okay.
So also it helps me to avoid people, like, and I'm sure you don't have to be a shaman to do this. They're just people, when you see them for the first time with no context whatsoever, you just know that you don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
Trust your gut.
So why could that be? Why do you think that you sense something negative in a person? Why is that? Where does that come from? And did he something to you before,
Who knows?
or in the other life and stuff like that?
That could be one. It could be somebody you didn't like in a previous life, or they could just be a person you wouldn't get along with in real world.
But why avoid them? Isn't I heard somebody once say that successful people have to go through a lot of uncomfortable conversations, a lot of uncomfortable situations. So why avoid that person? Why don't you confront that person and see, like, I feel there's some negative vibrations between the two of us. Maybe we can talk about this. Why not go there?
Some of them could actually be swindlers.
Okay.
Like, there was one guy I really didn't like.
Okay. Wow. And then?
I found out later that he's a practicing swindler.
Wow.
He goes around Juan Menya and tries to put on the scam on people.
Wow. So you what was that? Well, what was the situation like? You just bumped into him, or you had a meeting? What?
Yeah.
That swindler.
I'm sure there are a lot of red flags when they talk, like that guy who's crying, telling you that his family, daughter or niece or sister or whatever is in the hospital and he needed to go there right immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's that guy. Then there's another guy also who will claim that he's your relative, that he needs help going back to.
They all seem to need money, more money, right?
Or to wherever.
Your practice of shamanism, do you need to hone it, or you go to school and that's it? Do you need to hone it? Do you have like regular meetings with other shamans? Do you level up? Is there like a stages of shamanism? Are you practicing the first level of shamanism, or are you like the black belter of shamanism already? How does that work?
Shamanism is a very personal, and it's not regimented at all.
Okay.
That's why very few will claim to be shamans, because it's more, it will depend on the tribal society you're in. But for sure, I'm not in a tribe. I'm in my own self-practice.
So you have no other shamans to have coffee with or to talk to in Cebu, at least?
Not in Cebu. In Manila, yes.
So do you crave having some sort of a meeting with them? Maybe not physically these days, maybe through Zoom?
Yeah, we've done that. My mentor was practicing shaman, and his path and practice is called LNK, like lihim ni Cristo or something, Filipino voodoo.
Give us an idea, Jan, the extent in which shamanism is being practiced here in the Philippines, at least.
You're already familiar with the babaylans, the mangkukulams, the manghihilot. They are all forms of shamanism. Heck, even your parish priest is shaman.
What do you mean?
A parish priest intercedes for the people to God, in behalf of the people to God. In that sense, he's a shaman.
That's pretty much what a shaman is, right?
Yes.
To sort of the middleman or middle woman.
Exactly. You're the
netherworld.
middleman for the supernatural to the natural.
Would you recommend that I or the viewers try to learn more about shamanism or such practices? Would you recommend that to inform us more in terms of our reality?
Not shamanism per se, because it's really more a calling than anything. If you feel that you're drawn to the supernatural, to helping people, because my work is, I don't do this for, unlike witches and other mages who try to do it for material or whatever gains. Mine is just simply for personal evolution and to help people out. So if it's like being called to a priest, except it's more woo-woo and strange. And if you feel that calling, if you're curious, then why not? But what I do call on people is to evolve, to become better versions of themselves. And you don't need to be a shaman, you don't need to be religious, you don't need to be anything to be a better person. You could just have your definite principles and values. You could learn psychology. You don't need to be a psychologist to learn psychology. You could study all these self-help books. There are many roads, there are many paths, and it all leads to one destination.
Which is?
Evolution. To become an ascended being, to become God.
Or like God.
Like God, as close as you could get.
So you think that the path is one of the paths to that is shamanism, what you're practicing now?
My path is, you don't need to become a shaman to become enlightened. You could just be like one of the greatest saints of the Catholic Church is Saint Therese, the Little Flower. Her practice was just doing small forms of service to others, which was her way of serving God. And yet she is considered one of the greatest theologians of the Catholic Church, which goes to say that you could be a radio DJ, you could be a gasoline attendant, you could be a woman of the night, and somehow you could make it your calling and find God and find the better version of yourself, one way or the other. Everyone is called, few answer.
Before we wrap this up, Jan, what is your message to all of us who have a sense that there is indeed a more than meets the eye, that there are things that we feel, that we sometimes see, and there is a lot of confusion, a lot of skepticism about it. What is your message to all of us who are not practicing any sort of spiritual practice like shamanism? Give us a general sort of a message, because I think a lot of us do have that sense that there is something deeper and better than what we see with our naked eyes. And some people find that in their religion, right? In their faith, in their religion. And some people, that's the only way that they see the world. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but that's also not a good thing. It's just a thing. Maybe there are other ways of being, of seeing the world like the way you do.
First of all, when you're talking about, let's break it down into two things. One is when you encounter the supernatural, be calm. We are frightened of the supernatural only because we don't understand what it is. And it is far beyond our mortal recognition. And of course, naturally, it would scare us. But there are very few things in the supernatural that you ought to be scared of. Stop watching those Magandang Gabi Bayan and all those Kapuso Mo, Jessica Soho, where they try to scare you about what the supernatural is. It's not scary. Okay. Oftentimes, these things come to you because they're looking for your help or they want to help you, like in my case. Second, when you're talking about seeing the world bigger and better than how you see it, go at your own pace. Just work hard to be a better person, however you may define that term, better person. Just keep on striving. It's important that you keep on trying to become nicer, more compassionate, more giving. And few also recognize that you also have to be kind with yourself. It starts with you. The more you improve, the more you are kinder to yourself, the more you're gentle to yourself, the better you'll also be for other people. The lesser you'll need validation, the lesser you'll need love and care from other people, because you are giving it to yourself. You are taking care of yourself. You're not asking for it from other people. And that's evolution. It's your journey. Focus on you. Become that better person. I invite you all.
If they would like to talk to you and get to know more about what you do, and perhaps even want a card reading, or maybe they'd like to connect with somebody who has passed on and there are some issues that they'd like to fix, would you be available? And if so, where can they get in touch with you?
Okay, I don't normally advertise my services.
You're not advertising it. I'm just saying that if, in case they want to know more about what we're talking about.
Okay, you know what? Whatever. If you guys want to contact me, I'm on Instagram. My handle is jan.prats. That's JAN.PRATS. So if whatever you need from me, just message me there.
And Halloween is right around the corner, Jan. Are you the kind of person that goes out on Halloween? And if so, what will you be dressed as?
I don't need Halloween to dress up as anything. I just need a concert.
I've seen you in Axl Rose of Guns N' Roses outfit. So
You've never seen me as the Joker?
The Joker? You mean like
never seen me perform? I will send you that video, Jiggy.
Wow, send me that video too, man. Jeez, you're a man with many hats. Attorney Jan Perez, also a shaman, and also a fountain pen collector, and a host of other things. You guys should check his Instagram out. He's very interesting, and I'm very intrigued about you. Jan, thank you so much for doing this. I know you have dinner coming up, and it's very important to you. I love that about you, that you really find time to have dinner with your mom and all of that stuff. Thank you so much, Jan. You're a kind and you're a great soul. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk to you.
Thank you also for this opportunity to share my craft and practice with others. And hopefully it will give them a better relationship with the supernatural and not be scared of it, because very few things to be scared about.
Okay, Jan. And I hope to talk to you soon over a cup of coffee one of these days.
Okay, Jiggy.
Take care. Stay safe.
You too. Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
When your car runs out of batteries in the middle of the night, just call 340-8989 and everything will be alright. No batteries, no cash, no problem. You can use your credit card with our wireless wiper. At all batteries, just call all batteries. Contact our new 24/7 hotline at 340-8989. No batteries, no cash, no problem. All batteries.
This episode is brought to you by All Batteries. Our delivery never sleeps, day and night, rain or shine, no holidays. Call them at 340-8989. That's 340-8989. Or visit their Facebook page at facebook.com/allbatteries. Delivery, jumpstart, warranty, and assist 24/7 at All Batteries. More batteries, more power.